Now, the Korean won touched a 6-year high against the U.S. dollar Tuesday as Asia's fourth largest economy reported a strong export performance in March. Let's find out how high it got and whether there could be an intervention by the government or even the central bank. We're joined live in the studio by our regular contributor, Dr. Byoung-joo. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Kim.
Good afternoon.
Now, so yesterday it was the Korean won ended at a near 5 years and 8 months closing high.
Right.
And today we're seeing that the won has best month since September. Now, in a relative sense, how high is this valuation really?
The views are divided at this point. If we compare, if we take a look into about, for instance, for the past 5 years trend, which we should have a picture here on the screen in a few seconds. Overall, we are talking about 15% appreciation of Korea's won from its peak or bottom. I should call it actually on the left side hand. It is a bottom because there was the lower valuation, and it has been climbing up. Now I'm saying this in reverse to what you're looking at the screen here, but just keep in mind we're talking about depreciation, depreciated value on the left side, and then appreciation as you move toward the right-hand side. So that's a 15% change. Some people say it's not that big, especially for bigger exporting companies here in Korea, but definitely SMEs that are reliant upon exports, that is considerable change. And if we just consider the past year change, overall of past month change, take a look at it right there on the screen once again. And we are talking about 4% appreciation during the past month. So that's considerable rise. Today, the valuation stands at 1,033.2, which is a little change from yesterday. The figure of which you're looking at right at this point, it's like a 0.28%. So what you're looking at on the right-hand side of the screen is almost close to what we had at the closing of the market, which was less than about an hour ago.
Right.
With this current level of won valuation, we are almost back to the pre-2008 financial crisis, global financial crisis level. So that's where we stand.
Right. So all in all, on a monthly standard, during April, the won rose 3%, so
Right.
that's pretty significant.
Right.
Now, usually we see the won appreciate when foreign investors buy or stock up on Korean shares,
Right.
and that wasn't the case yesterday.
Right. Yesterday and the day before, what has been happening is foreigners were continuously selling Korean stocks. And as you mentioned, when foreigners sell their stocks, usually we should expect depreciation of won, but that's not what we were seeing the past 2 days. Today, foreigners were continuing to sell their stocks once again, driving KOSPI down to 1961. This time we had a moderate depreciation of the won, which I just mentioned. So today what we saw was a little bit normal, but for the past few days it was rather abnormal. Keeping in mind that actually foreigners buying of Korean stocks has been one of the key, most strongest factors behind the movement of won's valuation. So people are saying, what's happening? One of the answer is with the long weekend coming, exporting industries, exporting businesses here in Korea may be trading their dollars ahead of time, selling their dollars here. So that's what seems to be happening for the past few days. And also abroad, what's happening is in the United States, we have Federal Open Market Committee meeting coming up, and we are not expecting any reason for dollar to get stronger here. So that's another factor that stands or that is placed on the table here.
Right, because at this point, the U.S. Feds are expected to take further steps toward ending its bond buying program.
Right.
So that is what we're expecting, as well as the investors.
Right.
Now, let's talk about current account surplus for March. Now, we posted a $7.4 billion current account surplus. Again, in a relative sense, how big is this?
Actually, as a March figure, we compare each month every year, and as March figure, it was the largest March figure ever for current account surplus. But in a longer term trend, let's bring up some the bar graph that we have prepared. Okay, so longer term trend, it's like highest in 6 months since with the October figure being the recent peak here. But still, same story remains here. we are seeing Korea's foreign reserve size continuing to go up, continuing to increase, and that is a significant factor behind Korea's continuing appreciation of our currency.
Right. Now, so how do we expect the won to stabilize? Which institute could, for instance, if it is required, could even intervene to stabilize the won?
Very important questions, two questions. Where we can see the valuation stabilize, there's a big debate out there. About 2 weeks ago, IMF at that time said Korea's won is still deflated, and there is a further appreciation needed by about 8%. Yeah, undervalued. And IMF was unusually saying Korean won still needs 8% appreciation. Now we've seen about like 4% so far, which means about 5-6% more to go, according to IMF. And I hope this number will not trigger speculation in the currency market here. The thing is, that's the one view for further appreciation to go. But other views, especially Korea's economic research institutes that are run by Jaebol, which are heavily dependent upon exports, they're all arguing this is overvaluation and we need to go back to the level of about 1,100 per dollar. So the view is severely divided at this point. But going back to the second part of your question, then should we expect intervention from the authorities here? We're not sure about that. But with the IMF statement being outstanding, saying that it's overvaluation that Korea needs to deal with, I think intervention would be quite difficult ahead. But market participants seem to be expecting a little bit more of that coming, and I think that expectation might have been reflected in today's depreciation, which was just a little bit.
Just a tad bit there.
Right.
And of course, the market will be closed tomorrow for a public holiday, Labor Day here in Korea, and then reopen on Friday just for a short while, just a day. And then next week, the first 2 days we have off, so we won't see much activity there in the Korean market in the next few days.
Right. So we can talk about this once again, perhaps sometime next week if possible.
Definitely. All right, Dr. Kim Byoung-joo, thank you so much for today.
Thank you.